So, next thing we want to talk about are curtain walls. So, do you guys know what curtain walls are? Right? Who knows what curtain walls are? Please raise their hands. Who doesn't know what curtain walls are? Please. And the ones who didn't raise their hands, what's the deal? Okay. So, curtain walls are basically walls that have different modules on them with a grid. So usually and typically we see them in a glass form that is like a glass tower, a glass building. There is a big curtain wall on it, everything glass and mullions. But that's not the only case. So whenever you have a wall with a grid and panels on it and different specifications of the panels could be there, it would be glass or something else, those are curtain walls. And the way to draw them is to draw a wall, because curtain walls are walls, and then go under type and change them to curtain wall. But that's only the beginning of the story. So when you have your wall selected and it's a curtain wall, you would go under edit type. And the reason the grids are showing up because I edited type already. So if you don't edit your type, these two vertical grid and horizontal grids are set to none. And when you define your curtain wall, it will show up as only a wall with glass in it. So you can go in under edit type, you can turn on your fixed distances or fixed numbers. If you want to have 8 panels, then your case is fixed numbers. If you want to have panel every meter or something like that, then your case is a fixed distance. So fixed distance and fixed distance for vertical and horizontal. I would say a meter here and maybe 3 meter vertical, then I'll say okay, and then it will be applied to this wall that is acting a bit weird. So I'll just draw a new one so that it's more clean. Then edit the type, curtain wall, there. I've got it here. When you have your wall selected, there are a series of properties that you can edit here. There are some that are basic wall stuff that you could do for any kind of wall, and there are some of them that are grid based and they're only for this specific curtain wall. So the vertical grid and horizontal grid have a justification. So they are starting from the beginning, or they could start from the center, or they could start from the end. So what they mean is they're adjusting it to different places, as you can see. So beginning, end, or I would do them center and center. So they're centralizing all the lines and then extend them out. So this is the center point of the curtain wall. You could also give them some angles. So let's say it's a 10 degree this way, and it's a 30 degree that way, and then it will do an angled curtain wall for me. So far I only have a wall and a grid panels in. I don't have any mullions, so it's just a wall, grid, and the mullions. The other way to edit those elements is to have your wall selected, and you can see this little thing in the middle. Click on that, and then it will give you the actual justifications of where your adjusting is starting from. So I'm changing it by clicking on these arrows, where I'm starting to define my grids on the walls. And then what are the angles here? So it could be 45 by 50 or 80, and then click. It will apply that, and we're good to go. Then I've got this curtain wall. When I select it, the same modify tools are available, but under architecture there's this curtain grid tool that I can use on my curtain wall. So zooming on this, clicking on the curtain grid, I can now add new grids. So this says all segments. It will go through all these segments and give me a new grid. I can do only one segment to one of these panels. So there, maybe there, and maybe there. And I can do all except the pick. So I can do all except one. There. So it does stop. It does all that except only that panel that I have selected. I can also, pressing tab, go in and select different elements on a curtain wall. So in curtain wall you use a lot of tabbing through because there are tons of elements overlapping. So let's say I want to delete this grid. I would just go and select it. I can delete the whole thing by pressing delete, or I can remove a specific segments of it by using that tool. So you can see I can do all sort of games with my grid tool. After you have your grid set, the next thing is mullions. So what do grids do is basically just define where panels are ending and starting and in what form. And then when you place mullions in, they actually have that actual mullion component on them. So you would click on the mullion, and then you would say, okay, I want a mullion here, I want a mullion there. If you want to get all the mullions at once, you would click on all grid lines, and then you will select your curtain wall, and then it would apply a mullion on all the grid lines on that wall. A lot of times working with curtain walls, this error would show up because any little move or stretch or rotate or anything that you do, a little mullion somewhere could get too small to exist and will be deleted or will be adjusted, or a new one will be added. So you'll see this a lot. So you can usually, when it's a curtain wall, just be confident enough to say delete element. It's probably a mullion somewhere that is going to disappear. So now I have a wall that is a curtain wall and has mullions on it, and actually that's the interior I was looking at. This is the exterior side, and I can define angles, different grids, and different stuff on it. Other thing you can do when you are dealing with a curtain wall is to press tab, select different elements on the curtain wall. So if I click my mullion and I select it, similar to anything else, there's a type defined for it. I can go in and change the type. I want it to be circular, I want it to be rectangular, different dimension, or anything. I have the chance to go in and do that if I want to. So that's that. The other thing is that, which is a bit more interesting, is the panel. So you can go in and actually tap through to select the panel. So now I've got this panel selected. I can go there and continue pressing the tab to find more panels, and then hold control and select. So I've got 2 panels selected. Now I can go under here and change my panel from glaze to solid or something else. You can load in more panel types into your project. So I'll just change this to solid to show what it means. But if I have, let's say, a wall, and if that wall is a curtain wall, like this, then I can go add my mullions in. So mullion, all grid lines, click. Then I would go under insert, load family. A lot of these guys have families that are curtain wall based. You can bring them in. So I would go under, let's say, doors, and you can see these 3 types are curtain wall door families that I can open. So now when I load them in, didn't work. Okay, let's see if it worked. So when I load them in, I would go try to pick that panel, and then if I go under here, okay, apparently they didn't load in, so I'll load them again one more time. So door, curtain wall, double glass, or single, open that. Now I would go select this under there. Should be able to, there we go. So there I've got a door panel type that I can assign to this guy. Now this is a door. So when I go to my level 1, and when I actually, if I find the thing, so there's a door in my curtain wall. A lot of times you have issues with putting doors in a curtain wall, because that's not possible. Like if you go pick the door, you cannot place this on the curtain wall. You need to define the right dimensions by moving your grid lines to where they need to be. A lot of times they're pinned. You can unpin them, move them around, or give them proper distances. If it needs to be whatever number, you can define it there, and then change the panels to what they need to be. If they're upper bay windows, or there are solid panels, there are drywall panels, there are door panels, anything, you would define them this way. Questions? I see less and less people in class. What happened? Is it me? Okay. Yes, that's just a, so that could be a panel type that, let's say I would select this and do this, or I would do edit type, duplicate, call it frosted glass, and then when I've got the new thing, I would go under material, I would change the material to, let's say not even frosted glass, but actually an earth glass or earth panel. I would change this, say okay, then here I have defined it as something else, and whatever material I showed there would show up here. So whatever you want, you can do with the panels. You can define them yourself. Okay, so that was the curtain wall. Families we have talked about. Just quickly showing a few more things. So if you go under components, you can place in certain components. So architecture component, then you would go pick the stuff that are loaded in your file, or you would go load new families, let's say under furniture, table, there's a table I want, I will load that, it will show up here, then I can place it in my plan, wherever it needs to be, and that's the family. The only thing that is important here is that you can edit these families. So again, you're going to those files and changing those. So if you needed to edit them, do so, but make sure you save a new file. If you click on the edit family, this thing will show up. Then you can move stuff around or change different dimensions and that kind of thing, save them and bring it back to the project. So we'll just close that and don't save. Okay. That's about the family, so everything is a family. I was going to show you guys a few editing tools in massing. So when you guys import mass from other programs, let's say Rhino, there are certain tools that you can use to edit that mass. I don't know how much you're going to use it right now, but I'm just going to quickly touch on it and then show more details on Monday. So if you insert something in, so let's say I import a CAD file, and then I go to my USB, I've saved a few things, mass import test. Usually in 2018 you can use Rhino files. In 2017 SAT is the closest thing that you can get to NURB systems, so SAT is a good file extension. DWG and SKPs are good for meshes and polys, so you would use them if you wanted to. But SAT is the closest you can get to a NURB system, Rhino. So I would input my mass. It's trying to bring it in. It is somewhere, okay. It's probably in the middle. So I will select everything, go to my filter, check none. I want to find the mass. And it's not, oh, it's not a mass, it's an imported file, okay. Didn't want to do that. You would go under massing, in place mass, okay, and then you would insert your file there. That's what I wanted to do. SAT, finish, okay. Now I've got a mass, then I go select everything. Under here, do I have a mass? Yes, I do. So there's the mass, select. It's sitting somewhere that I can't see. I would just try moving it to the side. It's a weird scale, so it's very small. There. Double clicking on it would make it disappear. What's happening? Okay, edit in place. Don't go. Alright, that's the weird things Revit do. I know you're there. Okay, it's not working for now. Don't worry about it. Next time I'll show you. But I'm sure you guys have already dealt with importing stuff and defining walls by face and changing those. We could also define curtain walls by faces by going to curtain system. So if you need to do that, play with that a little bit around, and then I'll show you guys more detail with a proper, oh, it's showing up now. Maybe I was thinking. But anyways, if you have this guy and you want to define curtain walls on it or walls on it, you can go wall by face, click on it, now it's a wall. Or if you wanted to do a curtain wall system, you will select that and create the curtain wall system, and it will do it for you. I'm having a bit of a scale issue right now, that's why it's not showing properly. And then the last thing to show in the tutorial today, and then after this I'll go to your individual questions, is to how to deal with a few wall editing tools. So kind of answering Cassidy's question. So if you have a wall here, there are a series of things you can do to it. So you can move it around, you can change the height, you can change the type and all that kind of thing. You could also edit the profile of a wall. So if you click on edit the profile, it will give you the profile of the wall, whatever is happening on your wall you can define here, and then when you trim, it will show up as that form. So for your stair, you can probably do this if you need to, or you can have 3 different walls, one of them is shorter, the other 2 are higher, or whatever works in your case. If you need your wall to be angled the other way, good luck doing that with the wall tool in Revit, but you can actually mask it in Revit. So next class on Monday, I'm going to cover mainly some masking techniques, showing you guys, okay, if you're importing something from Rhino, there are a few tools to edit that and define it as a building. But if you're not bringing masks from somewhere else, there are some interesting masking tools inside Revit that you can use and actually do some irregular complex forms in Revit. So I'm going to show you guys those on Monday. And then after this, in the next module, we're going to go back and do some parametric work on those masking things that we have seen. So that's